early on in the farm when we were still living in our bus on 4th Road. And they arrived from New Jersey and set up a little tent.
Mike, please.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so prepare your remarks and write it out. I'm tempted to start singing a mix song or something. But mic up. Okay. You can tell how much stage experience I have. Okay. Well, the Gavins moved into us when we were still living in our bus on 4th Road, parked under the big oak tree there, and for some reason they chose that location and set up. I don't know if it was an actual tent or just tarps, but it was wicked weather, and we look out of our window and look down, and they'd be kind of clambering around in the wet and the leaves and all, and that's where we got to know them, and after getting introduced to the people in the caravan, I mean I didn't go to Monday night class or anything, so I wasn't a full-blown hippie at that point. I was kind of a converting hippie, and they were a breath of fresh air because they were straight out of New Jersey, and it was very different than the Haight-Ashbury vibe. And we thought they just cracked us up, and Michael reminded me of guys I knew from high school, except they were Jewish. One of my friends is Louis Black, so Mike was as funny as Louis, and he taught me how to be a carpenter, and going out on jobs with him, with all of our gear packed in the back of this old station wagon that was bumping along, and driving home with the radio blasting, with Bachman Turner singing "Taking Care of Business," and we thought we were really taking care of business.
You were.
And we were bringing home bucks. Right, Chaz? Right, Charles? So, and we lived with, we moved back into our bus again with Michael and Linda and lived with them in a bus with our kids and Carrie, and did quite well, I thought. And we actually moved into another house with him after that. So he's beloved by me. I think he's just one of the most lovable people I've ever met, and he'll be sorely missed. I think about him a lot.
I kind of wanted to talk now because my story with Nick picks up right where Cliff's almost ends. We came to the farm, Don and I, in a bus that had to be towed the last 80 miles. We broke down every state between California and Tennessee. Somewhere we blew a piston, and so we got towed to the gate. They didn't know what to do with us, So we weren't getting along that great. So we weren't really going to be put into a household because I think we were kind of toxic. So they said, "Here, we're going to put you down in the woods. We're going to pull your bus down in these woods right next to this big household of pretty functional people." So there's Cliff and Nick and Linda. Carrie was 7. And there we were in our bus. Sarah Kate was 2. And the agreement was if I ever needed anything, I could go run down the path through the woods to that house and ask for help. So that's what I do. And one time I went down and I said, "We need help." And Nick was the one home. I said, "We're there, we're fighting, we don't know where to go with this. I need help." So Nick, he picks up a kitchen chair and he goes running down the path through the woods with his chair like a lion tamer. And he leaps into the bus at dawn and he goes, "Back! Back! Back!" And he really put us in our place. So it worked. It worked. And thanks. Thanks. Yeah, we lasted a long time after that.
Okay. Don't be shy.
All right, well, while you're thinking of something, oh, here we go. Okay, good.
Thank you all for coming to honor Mick, Linda, and her family. You know, so I get to the farm, end up in one of those little two-man tents. Alan and I stuck in a two-man tent, 6, 4. Yeah, it was real tight. And a couple that we were put next to their bus, they were having a very loud argument. And I'm like, wait a second, I left California for this? What happened to Monday night class? So, I'm like, ooh. Within a month or so, I ended up doing a town run with Linda. All of a sudden I realized, hey man, there's part of the farm that never lost their sense of humor. It not only saved my ass, but it saved my faith in that we could hang in there, scratch it out, and still have fun. Well, that wasn't even it. Then, I'm on the gate. Here comes Marla. This sweet little dynamo from a place called New York. And after that, Mick and Linda expanded their family in such a manner that I've always blessed them for taking on more family. And isn't that what we were doing out there in the woods? Trying to cover more than just our behind? So, yeah, Mick and Linda showed me personally how to have a lot of heart, how to have a lot of fun, and shake your booty. Love you all. Let's have fun in celebration of Mick.
I wanted to tell you about this binder of how many, like 50 letters from all the people that used to work with Mick at MTSU and the Heritage Society and Preservation Society, and all these people wrote letters after he died. And it was interesting to me that they all got him. They all got his essence. And it over and over and over, every letter said the same thing almost, didn't it? It was like the same thing. And
He was him.
yeah, it was all about
Driving.
it was all about, the men would say, how he'd get right up in your face and talk. This close. And we thought he was a little crazy and wild. Yes, he was. And they said how generous he was and how he always had time to help all his students, all the teachers who asked him for help. Some of the people who were restoring buildings, they were students that had to restore buildings. They'd ask him for help. He never said no. Never, and he was enthusiastic to help. They noticed that about him. And all the women talked about being his girlfriend, you know, and this, and how they were in love with him, and just all this kind of stuff. It was just amazing. And how much he showed them appreciation of music. And when that song came out about Beautiful, you're beautiful, you know that one? He played that every single Friday, all day long. It's loud, and they, you know, everybody was annoyed. My God, it's so loud, it's so loud. But on Friday, he put that song on for at least a month or something like that. And anyway, if you ever have a chance to read some of these letters that Linda has in her archive there on the farm or wherever she might be, that she brings it, it's really worth to see how he really was loved by all kinds of people, and they all got him, and I was happy to see that. Was there anything else that they said that they got him? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just wanted to say that Michael was an extraordinary human being, and I loved him so much. I could never really tell him how much until we went back for the 40th class reunion, and he had just done a gig and was barfing backstage, and I knew I'd probably never see him alive again, and I got to tell him at that time how much I loved him and how important a part he played on the farm. And I think that we all know how important he was to the history of the farm, and how significant he was at so many levels that we could go on and on here because it was that way. But one thing that I'll be brief, but one thing I want to say that it wasn't until after his passing that I find out he went to Rutgers and was this thinker and this writer and this amazing person, but he was always right down in the trenches for us, doing the hardest work, never saying quit. And I had no idea that he had this brilliant mind. And after the farm, he went on to show people what he did. And I just think it's so cool that we're all here to recognize that. And I'm a true believer that, and I think he's here with us. And so he knows that. And the one thing about Michael that I admired him so much for, and that I didn't have the guts, and I didn't really have it to do this, but he questioned authority. God, did I love him for that. And I think we all did. And all this stuff John said about the music, I'm with you. I was in another place. I had to kind of be PC. You know, honest, I had to be PC, but damn it, I love that guy and what he did. So let's party, you know what I mean? He would want it that way, you know.
Great.
Hi, everybody. Michael, to me, was the first person that actually let me understand what the concept of loyal opposition was, and which became very meaningful in the rest of my life. But because he was not afraid of power, he was not afraid of speaking to power, he was not afraid of joking about it, whatever it was that took you down a few notches, he would do. But he loved the farm, and he loved what we were doing, and was so dedicated to it that there was absolutely no question of that, ever, no matter what. So one of the things I guess I'm most grateful to him for was when I was really in a very kind of hard situation after getting fired from the bank, getting fired from the farm band, getting fired from the midwife, one thing after another. Michael was the person that he never cared what you did or what your standing was in terms of the community. He was always my friend. And that is just an incredible thing to take. And so he invited me to be in the Wild Dogs, which was some of the most fun I had in the farm. All at 15 years, I guess, total. If I count the DC part. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. Loyal opposition, Mick, you are the man. Love you.
He really, somebody loves you without conditions.
Hi, great to see you all. I'm Robert Blesser. I don't see enough of everybody. Oh, thanks. Let's see, I had three things I wanted to say. I can never remember anything. First thing, he had a great mouth, and loved to call us different names and stuff. And one of the things he said to me, we have 6 children, Virginia and I, and one of the things he said to me was, only the lamest people have a lot of kids, you know. And he says, "Hey, I have a bunch of kids too, you know." And then he called me Dog Face. Hey, Dog Face. Okay, and then we were on the Florida farm for years, and then we came back to the farm after about 4.5 years in Florida. Came on back and had one more kid to make it 6, and that was the first ragweed. And he gets up there and does Jumping Jack Flash and all the rest of his repertoire, and it was just fantastic. First time I'd ever seen him do that part of him. And watch him do that. It was just so sexy, and just really had it, And I've never done this before or since. I decided to go backstage and tell the performer, man, I thought that was great, So I go on back there, and Stephen and Ina May and Margaret are back there chewing his ass out. Chewing his ass out. And I go on to the thing, and I'm like, I'm totally into the juice, And I go, hey, Mike, you were great. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Margaret turns around and goes, you would. You want more? I didn't write it down. I can't remember. Here.
Perfect. Thank you, Robert. And it's great to see you.
Well, not much could make me go back to the farm, but last September, Janice called me and said, we got to go see Michael. Ellie said, we got to go see Michael. And we had such a great weekend with Michael, and he took us on this wild tour over these logs and everything. And you know what he said? He said, you made the down and I made the payments.
Yeah. Amen.
Another person who made the down.
Yeah, the other down.
Honestly, I was terrified of Michael Gavin. I was terrified of Wilbur, too, and for the same reason. Here I was, this little debutante from Boston, masquerading as this hippie, right? And anytime I'd get near Michael, he would say something that would just destroy me, because he knew what a poser I was. So I stayed as far away from him as I possibly could for most of the time that I lived on the farm. Until, after like 10 years of no drinking, only dope, and, God knows what else, peyote tea, whatever, at the parties, the rumor went out that Mick and Linda were having drinks parties at their house, and I thought, oh my God, you mean we can actually go to a party where people don't sit around and I vibe, get all luxurious, I thought, how totally amazing and how cool and how typical that it would be Mick that would come up with this brilliant idea and finally make it so that we can have some fun, So I just think he was incredibly brave, outspoken and brave, and I wasn't there, but the tales that I heard from Penny and from Ellie, that's how he was at the end. Incredibly brave, just the way he lived his life. I think he's extraordinary.